Hey, just a small disclosure before we start this video. Something was up with Chris's mic. The volume we thought was good enough that we're going to post it anyways, but just be advised we are getting that mic replaced, and hopefully the next one that we come out with in this format, things will work out a little bit better. But let's get to the video. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sons of Xero YouTube channel, where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric.
My name is Chris.
And together we're the Sons of Xero. We're going to be talking today a summer roundup of 2024. So we're going to talk about all the shoes that we've reviewed, what our favorite ones were, and then we're also going to give a fall and winter preview. So we've got a lot of boots in already that we're going to be making videos for this winter, and we wanted to let everybody know what to look forward to. We're also trying a different format here, a little more podcast style. Big shout out to everybody who's been using our affiliate links. Like we've said, those affiliate links help to put more gear into our hands. They help us with the channel and to make videos, and the microphones and upgrades that you see are all available because of people who use those links. So we are putting money back into the channel and trying to make it grow, trying to change things up and keep it a little bit more exciting as well.
Yeah. I say we just jump right into it, because while we are doing kind of podcast format, we don't want this to be super long. We're going to roll in B-roll like we normally do as well as we're talking. So there's not going to be so much like, here's the shoe for you. So you can look forward to that. But let's jump right into our categories. So we're going to talk about our favorite sport model between the two of us, our favorite casual models, and our favorite sandals from what we reviewed this summer. So I'll go ahead and get us started. I'll go sport model first. So my favorite sport model of all the ones that we tried ended up being the Teardrop Zero. So I want to give some reasons why. One is I think it looks pretty good as far as a sport shoe goes, but I love the performance of this thing. A lot of that's going to come from the grippiness of the outsole and the balance of the stack height. So this thing has about a 10 millimeter stack height. You can get it down lower. I think it's to about 5 or 6 millimeters or so. That actually makes it decent for running, in my opinion. But then those lower stack heights are going to be really great for lifting weights. I love how wide the toe box is on this thing. So it's just kind of an all-around great sport shoe for me. We do have a link for Tier down in the description, so make sure to go and check that out. Now Eric's going to talk about his sports model.
Right. So there were a lot of exciting releases this summer. We did like the Notorious Lift, Radix. We had really early on the Freet Vibe was another sports shoe that we did. But the one that I ended up picking as my winner for this roundup is the Balenka Velocity. So my beef with the Tier, if you can hand it to me real quickly so I can show everybody. These pieces of TPU right here actually were kind of sharp, and they like dug into my foot. So I think the point where my foot flexes was just kind of off. Maybe the sizing was off a little bit.
Maybe.
But it hurt. And it took a long time to break in. And every time I put these on, it still kind of hurts. And so that was kind of like why I didn't go with that one. And I really like the Velocity. It has a super nice wide toe box. It's very flat and very minimal. The outsole is kind of well-rounded. It's not the grippiest thing ever, but I actually enjoyed running with this a few times as well. So for me, those are the things that I really liked about it. You can see mine's kind of dirty. I actually took it on a hike too. So it's still got all the dirt on it from the hike. It's got a nice padded collar around the ankle as well. So that was my winner for this summer.
Cool. Next, we're going to get into casual models, and I cheated just a little bit because I picked two. Basically, they are the same shoe. These are both from Splay. This is the 101, and then we have the slip-on here. And the only way that they're different is that one's a slip-on model, and the other one is the lace-up. Otherwise, they are the same shape, they're the same stack height, they have the same outsole, all the same things. The reason why I chose two was because maybe you want the lace-up version, and there are times where I feel like that makes a little bit more sense. I've worn both of these for a lot of different things, whether it's weightlifting or whether it's boarding. I find that things like going boarding, this is really nice for, but it's really nice to just slip on the slip-on super fast and just be out the door with the family. This has actually probably been my most worn shoe over the entirety of this summer. But they have improved the toe box on these as well from the previous versions. Those used to be like ridiculously wide looking, and a lot of people thought they were goofy. I think these look a little bit more normal, but they still have just as much width as I enjoy. And as my toes continue to splay out, I work on them a lot. I use the toe spacers. I'm starting to use some toe strengthening devices as well that you'll see us review down the line. I'm loving that toe box. But yeah, splay's been a huge winner for us all summer long, and that's why I ended up going with both the 101 and the slip-on for my winners when it came to the casual models.
When it comes to the casual models for the summer of 24, Splay had the most exciting things coming out. Like, we didn't even know the 101 was a thing until they dropped it. And it, like, for me, totally came out of left field. We thought there's going to be updates to the Explorer and the Freestyle. There was to the Freestyle. We haven't really seen adult Explorers. There's kid Explorers.
Right.
But then the 101 just kind of came out of nowhere. And it was like, oh, this is a really good looking shoe. And the new shape that they had, too, is just fantastic. I mean, when I put my foot in those shoes, it's like, this is what a barefoot shoe, at least as far as the toe box goes, should feel like. You know, they add a little stack height, and I think some people didn't quite like that, but I don't know.
I don't feel like it was too much.
No, they're still really flexible. They're still zero drop and really flat. So a little added stack height for me isn't a huge deal. I know for some people it is. But
for sure.
For my casual shoe that I ended up picking, it's the Bear Jordan, that we like to call them. This is the Feelgrounds courtside high top. And I don't know what it was for me this summer, honestly. Like, I think part of it is that I've never had a high top shoe like this before in this style.
Yeah, we didn't grow up getting into like these kinds of Nike Air Jordan shoes at all.
Not at all. And when I got it and put it on my feet and looked in the mirror, I was like, dang, those are good looking shoes.
What have we been missing all
I
of
really
our
like
lives?
that. Yeah, exactly. And so it became the shoe that I wore the most this summer. Like, I've just kind of trashed. You can see, like, you know, these are really worn down. The lugs, if you'll call them that. So yeah, I love the styling of it. It really fits in with society. Like, that's a big thing with barefoot shoes, is they look dorky. Like, when you look at the Splay 101, for example, it's like, those are huge toe boxes. And these ones integrate really well. They do a good job with the paneling to where it kind of hides the width of the toe box. And another thing with Feelgrounds too is when we got our first ones, the knits.
Yes.
Those ones kind of disappointed me, because the way that the panels were sewn together right here made it feel narrower than they actually are.
And they rubbed on you a little bit.
And they rubbed on my, on my big toe. But with this one, it doesn't have that problem, because the panels are different. And so it felt a little bit wider to me because of that. But they're just so dang minimal too. They're like 5mm bases. They don't even come with an insole. And I've been putting my Patrol Winter insole into them sometimes because I like the extra squish. I like the stitching that they have on the outsole because it gives you a little bit of added security. As far as the durability of the shoe goes. So the styling surprised me. I like how well it fits in. And I like the barefoot qualities that it has.
That is fair. The last category that we're going to talk about is going to be sandals. We did 3 models overall. Eric and I chose different ones. I'll talk about mine first. So I ended up going with the Earth Runners. What is this called? The Alpha, right? Mm-hmm. So the Earth Runners Alpha. And the reason why I liked this one over what Eric chose, which is the Alpha Black Bear, obviously he'll tell you why in a minute, is because I really like the shape of these overall. I never felt like my feet were slipping out of them, and that's something that we found to be an issue with other sandals over this summer. I like the strap system. The one place where the Black Bear beats it for sure is how comfortable the strap system is, but this feels really secure on my foot overall. I did do quite a bit of running and some trail running as well in these, and I never had any issues with them slipping off. Otherwise, they performed just as good as a trail running shoe in a lot of the ways that I want them to. Then they're also super easy to get on and just very nice for casual wear. So if I was going out with the family and I wanted to wear a sandal of some kind, it was just super easy to reach for these, grab them, and go. They were comfortable the whole time, and they had the versatility to stand up to whatever I was going to be doing with them that day. So that's why I ended up going with these, although the Black Bear, which you're now going to talk about, was a very close second for me.
They are like almost tied in my mind. So we reviewed 4 different sandals, right? We had the Feelgrounds Pathway, the Bahé, Respire, and then we had the Earth Runners and the Toetem. So the thing that won out for me with the Toetem is how comfortable the strap system is. So these suede straps that they have are just super nice. They just edge out the Earth Runners, in my opinion.
I could agree with that.
And I like the functionality that their straps have too. Like I like that there's no buckles. Like on the Earth Runners, there's one buckle. And you said that it kind of came loose on you a couple times.
It did a handful of times, yeah.
So that's one thing that they have no buckles at all. They've got no metal, no plastic or anything as far as the strap system goes. And I talked about this in the review, but you can slide that down and then you can wear it around like that too.
Right.
If you're just wearing them casually. But once you're ready to go on a hike or if you're ready to go run or something with these, then you just slide that up on your foot and it's secure and it's ready to go. So I like that about it. You talked about the shape. This one does kind of have a bit of a funny shape. We talked about that when we first got them.
Yeah.
They're like this squared off really hard some reason where we thought that it should have probably continued to round.
Well, and I don't remember if you said, remind me, because I wish we had gone with the wider. We ended up going with the regular fit, and I ended up wishing I had gone with the wider.
I think so too, because our feet kind of pushed towards the edges of the sandals. Not that they were completely spilling off.
No.
But I think we thought like, oh, these are marketed as barefoot sandals. So the standard should be a wide, but it wasn't really wide enough. We probably could have gone with the wider ones. But yeah, I also like this piece that goes in between your toe. For me, that's like a huge point as far as these sandals go. If you have something in between your toe, it needs to be comfortable. And that ended up being a little bit more comfortable for me than the Earth Runners. I actually like the outsole on the Earth Runners better than this one.
Oh, interesting. Because I'm swapped on that one.
Yeah.
I like the outsole on that guy way better.
And I like the fact that the Earth Runner is grounding too. This one's not a grounding.
Well, it's funny because they're both
sandal.
Vibram outsoles.
They are. Yeah.
I just noticed that.
I felt like when I was walking around at the bottom of the waterfall that we always go to, Battle Creek Falls, that one felt more secure than this one did.
Well, and see, that's one of the big differences for me between these while we're keying in on them is it came down to security for me. I really like the security of the Earth Runners over that, and obviously we use the meta straps with these guys. You guys can see that in the review of them, and that does make them more secure. But that's another reason why I like the Earth Runners a little bit better, is because they don't need the meta straps in order to feel. But I would say yes, comfort wise, this thing kills it. The Alpha Black Bear's on top. When it comes to functionality, I felt like the Earth Runners had it there.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do my hierarchy. So
and you should definitely go and check out the full review, because I talked about the meta straps a lot. I had a whole spiel about it and how it's like it feels like these are going to slip off your heel. They never have, but it just feels like it's going to happen. So the meta straps are nice to give you that added security, but I don't want to have to pay for the extra security. So that's kind of what threw me off about that. But yeah, I go for comfort. I also, one last thing just to key in here, I like how they look a little bit better. The straps are thicker.
I can agree with that.
And it's just a little more masculine.
Yep.
And so that's whenever I wore the Earth Runners, I was like, man, these kind of look like girly sandals just because the straps are thin.
Right.
And this one, I didn't feel
We're
like
getting
that.
into it a little bit here, but if you want us to do a toe-to-toe of these sandals specifically to get even more deep into it and really hash it out, let us know down in the comments section.
That would be perfect.
Okay, I think it's time for us to move into our previews. So we have a lot of boots to work with this fall and winter, and we wanted to kind of preview a couple of the ones that we are most excited about and why. And so I'll go ahead and get us right in by talking about this guy. So this is the Reelfoot Trekker. And the thing that stands out about the Reelfoot Trekker, the reason why I'm excited to work with it, is just to play with this absolutely insane toe box. This thing is insanely minimal. It's 8 millimeters overall. You can get down to 4 if you want to take out the insole. But one thing I needed to bring up here is I was thinking about this as I was wearing it the other day, and I realized that this thing is tripping us out the same way it trips you out to wear a shoe that's too long for your foot.
Yeah.
So we found that we're kind of like having to get used to how wide the toe box is, that we're bumping into stuff as we're just walking around.
Yeah.
Which is something you experience a lot if you wear a shoe that's too long for you. You'll trip going upstairs and stuff like that. I feel like I'm getting that same effect out of this, but with how insanely wide it is. But I'm excited to see how that translates to the outdoors.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting. We have a plan to do another video that's comparing toe boxes and putting them into different categories. And if the camera's washing that thing out, like Chris sent a picture to me when they came, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look that bad. And then I got it in person and was like, what in the world? These are so wide. This one is going to be in our extra wide category. And there's very few that are going to be in that. Like,
yeah, what would we say? This one and then maybe the soft star?
Maybe the soft star. Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, that toe box is just, it's the widest toe box that we've had for sure. And the way that it tapers too in the midfoot, I don't think it's a little tight in the midfoot. That'll be one thing that I'm definitely going to talk about.
Do you notice it when you wear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it might just be how I'm lacing them up. Maybe I need to loosen it a little bit in the midfoot, but I can definitely feel that. Like it tapers pretty hard.
There's people in our comment sections who are always talking about the instep, how insteps of certain shoes are always too narrow for them. That's probably going to be a comment we get about this one if anybody ends up buying it on our recommendations.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Let's move on. I'm excited about this.
Okay. Go ahead and talk about it.
This is from Lems. We love Lems. This is the Breck boot.
This will have just been announced this week that we're putting this video out.
Right. And it's supposed to be just like a hardcore winter boot. So rugged. It's got some leather pieces on it. It's got, some mesh pieces on it. I think it has like rubber down on the heel right there and on the toe. So it's taken some inspiration from a lot of their past boots and kind of mixed things all together. This is the same outsole from the Primal Pursuit and the Primal Pursuit Mid waterproof. But obviously they raised it up quite a bit. And yeah, it just looks tough. It's pretty warm. I've been wearing each of these boots around the house just to try and break them in and, start forming opinions about them and everything. And this one it's fairly insulated compared to some of their other ones. Like my feet always get really warm when I'm wearing this one around the house. So yeah, I'm just excited for it to snow and for us to get it out there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about it the most is the gusset on it is super high. It's high. So I'm excited to see how deep we can get into the water with it and trek across some creeks and stuff like that. But yeah, that thing is an absolute brute. I'm excited to actually put that thing to work. The next one I think I want to talk about is going to be this guy. So this is the Xero Ridgeway Chelsea. And the cool thing about this is that it's a Chelsea boot, does all the Chelsea boot things. It looks like a Chelsea boot, but they took the Ridgeway sole and they slapped it on this thing. So theoretically, you could hike in this Chelsea boot, and we're definitely going to. Eric obviously has done a little bit with the rocks that are lodged in the traction pattern here, but this is actually a category that we're going to be exploring this fall and winter is hiking Chelseas. A handful of companies are coming out with these. What are the other ones? Lems is going to have a hiking Chelsea. Their new
Chelsea Tough. They just announced it.
Announced that. And then we also have, I don't know, are we going to hike in that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So
go ahead
and talk about that one.
So this is from Jim Green and
the Stockman.
So this thing is burly.
It's double lasted.
It's double lasted. So there's a lining. You can see this yellow in here. It's calfskin. So they do that layer first. And I've tried to do my research on it and sound like I know what I'm talking about. They sew that piece to a leather lasting board underneath, and then they put, this is the Houston brown leather that they have on the outside of that. So it's thick.
Oh, interesting.
And I mean, it's, we always want to flex our Barefoot shoes, and this one's like, holy crap. Gonna take a lot of break-in, but it's zero drop. It's on the anvil sole, which we love.
We love that
actually.
Sole. It works so well.
It's got this crazy stickiness to it that you wouldn't expect from it.
Works really nicely on ice. Yeah.
We discovered with our Barefoot African Rangers. So yeah, I love the way that it looks, honestly. Like, I've been wearing this thing.
You're a big Chelsea boot guy.
I am. So semi-formally, I've been wearing this one a lot. And it has taken a bit of break-in, but it's starting to really loosen up and just feel nicer and nicer. So with the anvil sole on it and with how beefy it is, I do think they're meant for outdoors. Like, I don't know. I see farmers out wearing these in my mind,
Yeah.
like out doing tough work in them, but then cleaning them up and going to church in them as well.
They're just going to need some break-in.
So, yeah, it's going to need some break-in. And we're just excited. It's funny, like, I've looked at so many dress shoes before, specifically like Chelsea's too, that always have giant wedge heels on them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always just been like, can we just cut the heel off
Well,
of
and
those?
the heel also, I've always thought that Chelsea boots were girly, and that's why I've always leaned away from them. And I think that's why, is the heel wedge.
Because of the heel?
Yeah,
Sure.
the heel, I think, makes them look... So now that we have a whole bunch that are flat, completely flat and zero drop, I think they look a little bit more burly and masculine, and I appreciate them just a little bit more.
Well, and I just love that Jim Green is doing that for me, where it's like you could take any of their boots and customize it now, and you're just cutting the heel off, and making it an actual comfortable boot, in my opinion.
Which we don't have it up here, but I figure might as well bring it up now.
Yep.
We are going to be working with, we already have worked with quite a bit, the Trooper. What's fun about the Trooper is they actually sent me, I don't remember when they sent this to me. They sent this to me at like the beginning of the summer.
That's one of the earlier models.
So this is an early prototype of the Trooper. They weren't even telling us that that's what it was or it was going to be called at the time. No. So eventually I'm going to make some comparisons between them. But yeah. The Trooper is super cool. It's basically just the Ranger, but with a high ankle. And I don't know. I really like the way that it looks. If you want that, like, very classic World War II Trooper boot look.
That's the vibe.
But you want zero drop. You want fairly minimal. This one we actually can do a fair bit of flexing around and bending and all that. And this one's fairly broken in now as well. This has really good barefoot qualities, and then we have just that classic Trooper look. So we are super excited about that one.
Yeah. Trooper's going to be cool. We've already done this one, but I think just to bring up like a newer brand to us, like we've worked with Xeros a lot, Jim Green, Lems obviously, but this is the one from Soft Star. So we had... what was it? A first impressions. And we're going to continue to work with it. We want to get it in the snow and see how it does in like wetter conditions.
It's going to get another review. It's going to get a follow-up review.
Like an in-depth one.
Yes.
So again, with that just massively wide toe box.
Yeah, we got to...
They're so wide. But I love how flexible this one is. I also love just what it is because it's handmade in the U.S., it's stitched down construction, so it's very repairable. Not as burly as the Jim Green. Like they use like 2 millimeter thick stitching down here.
You can feel it when you hold them both.
Yes, and this one doesn't have quite that, but still, great that they're making it that way. So it's an exciting boot. Interesting note: we got these in our normal sizes first, right?
We got them in the recommended sizes. She told us based on our foot size what we should get. We ordered those and they were too small.
They were too small. So yeah, when I'm looking inside here, this is a 10 and I'm usually a 9. Yeah. And so we had to size up for this, and we also got the narrow version
to begin with.
Yeah. Which when we got that in, it was just like, oh no.
I think it scared us. And so that's why we ended up going for the wide, because we have talked about it, and I wouldn't say they're too wide. I don't know if a shoe ever feels too wide technically. Even with, we were getting pretty close with the real foot. I think it might just take some getting used to, but I actually really like the amount of toe splay I get in both of those. I appreciate it personally. I hate it when my pinky toe rubs up against the sidewall of a shoe. It's so uncomfortable for me. Yeah. So I really appreciate those toe boxes, but maybe we could have gone with the narrower version on the Soft Star. But I like it. I like how wide that toe box is overall. Yeah. So the last one that I want to bring up, same idea. We've already done.
I think there's one more that we need to preview too, though.
Oh, is there? Is it that one?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we'll stop. We'll do this one and then one more. We've already done an initial impressions of this as well. It is the Bahé Rediscover. And this one, we'll just spoiler for you now. This is my front runner for best barefoot hiking boot of the year. So far that we've been, and I think we've got just like 2 or 3 more coming in that we haven't got yet.
Yeah, that are on the way.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be really hard for them to dethrone this guy because the stack height is in our Goldilocks zone, which is what, 15?
I think it's 15.
15-ish millimeters. It's around there somewhere. The grip on the lugs is fantastic. We love how wide the toe box is. We love the performance of like the rubberization all around the outside. It's very protective. The waterproofing is bomb-proof. If I had to give it a dislike, I mentioned this in our initial impressions review, but I wish that gusset was up higher.
Just a little higher.
But what can you do? You know, sometimes they can't fit all of those features in there. This thing is awesome. And if I had to pick one boot right now, it would be this one. We'll see if another one can take its place, but I'll let Eric talk about the last one because this one's actually pretty dang close to it, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. This is one that we've been trying to get for a very, very long time.
Very long time,
and so
almost
super
2 years.
Nice when we finally made it happen. This is the Balenka Ranger 2.0. So it's just awesome. It's a nice leather that they use. It's a nubuck. And it's very soft, and it seems like it's going to last as long as we take care of it. We really like the outsole that this thing has. It has some teeth on it.
Yeah.
Those are just beefy, and they grip so well. We had this with the York last year. So they didn't have our sizes last year. When we finally got to the point where we could ask for these, they didn't have the right sizes for us. And so we went with the York, and I mean, that outsole was awesome. It's just a different boot. It's not, I don't think, as meant for hiking.
No, the York is more casual. It's more made for keeping your feet cozy in the winter.
Yeah, it's got like a merino wool lining,
which
in it
was
that's
funny
pretty thick.
That they put the same traction pattern on the York.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that traction pattern is one of our favorite traction patterns
That's
that
awesome.
we've ever worked with.
Yep.
It works fantastic in snow and on ice, and it works going uphill and coming downhill.
Yeah.
So the fact that they put that on the York in the first place, we knew we already know our opinion of how that performs.
Of how the
on
outsole
here.
works.
Yeah.
But this one's exciting. The gusset goes really high. It's totally waterproof. It has a lining, but it's not the warmest lining at all. Paired with a good pair of like merino wool socks, it could take you down to some really cool temperatures.
We've worn them on a hot day already, and they didn't kill us.
So it's very minimal as well. Super low stack height. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
They don't say on their website, but I know they used to, and I know it's somewhere between 10 and 15, so it's close to our Goldilocks.
Yeah, and the insole, I actually pulled it out. It's super minimal. Like, it's only 1 or 2 millimeters. It's a very, very thin insole. So it's really not adding anything to the stack height.
We're probably
of
pretty
the
close to
shoe
10 millimeters.
either. That's what I would think, just from feeling it out.
But they feel good,
So-
even out in the wilderness.
They do.
They feel really good.
Yep. I really, really like this one. It's a really close behind. I think this one looks better casually than the Bahé does. And that's my caveat with the Bahé is like, if I'm just going to go on a hike,
like a hiking boot.
then I'm going to take that one.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for versatility, then I'll probably go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Just
I agree.
because the Bahé is like, it looks like a hiking boot. That's what it is. It's a hiking boot. You know, these ones dabble a little bit with fashion.
Yeah,
I would
just
say,
a bit.
which
Just
isn't
a
a
bit.
surprise because the European brands seem to do a really good job.
Yes. Yes, they do.
But those aren't all the brands. We're getting stuff from Feelgrounds. We're getting something from Birchbury. That's going to be a new one for us. And I'm trying to think of the other ones just off the top of my head. But yeah, a pretty wide variety for this fall and winter.
Yeah.
We're super excited to get out on hikes and test all these things out and then let everybody know what we think about them. So if any of these shoes have piqued your interest at all, at least for the summer shoes that we talked about, we have in-depth reviews of all of those products. We have affiliate links for most of these brands, not all of them, but that really does help the channel out like we talked about at the beginning of the video. We're investing that money back into the channel to get fresh upgrades and try and keep things interesting and nice. A big point that we're going to make this winter is to actually buy a pair of boots that we can't get a hold of.
So we can't show them to you because we don't have them yet.
Yep.
But there's a new boot that Vivo Barefoot has just come out with, and we get a lot of comments in our comment section about how we haven't featured Vivo Barefoot, and it's because they haven't agreed to work with us yet. But they just released their new Tracker Leather All-Terrain. I'm assuming that's what the AT stands for. Sure. And so we are going to use some of that affiliate money that you guys have helped us out with to grab ourselves some pairs of those so that we can give you an honest opinion on Vivo and how they compare when it comes to all of these other hiking brands. So big thank you to you guys for, one, watching our videos, and two, for helping us out with those links as well. That really, really helps out the channel, and you guys are about to see it pay off in one of our reviews.
Right. And that comes at no extra cost as well. Sometimes I think people don't know exactly how affiliate marketing works and affiliate links. Like, it's not a sponsorship. Like, we're not paid to talk about any of these shoes. We don't have to have an opinion on them. They get to be our own opinions, and we get to say whatever we want about them, good or bad. But we do make a commission off of if you use an affiliate link, and it's no extra cost. Like, you're still paying the same price.
Well, and in some cases, our links have discount codes attached to them. So it'll actually automatically apply a discount code when you check out. So you might actually save some money from using those links from us, which is cool.
And then we get a commission from it. It's a good deal all around, I think, for everybody involved. Wins. So, yeah, big thank you to everybody who's used all of those. And keep an eye on the channel. We're going to be dropping videos every weekend like we do. And it's time to start getting into boots, which we're super excited about.
We'll see you in the next one.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up to date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.